Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for a chat about fraternity and sorority life here on Northern Arizona University's campus. You are joined today by your fraternity and sorority life office. I would like for them to each introduce themselves so you know who is in this video call with you all today.
Hello, my name is Kevin Gamotz. I serve as the Assistant Dean of Students and Director of Fraternity and Sorority Life.
Hello, everybody. I'm Denise Trimble Smith, and I serve as one of the coordinators for Fraternity and Sorority Life at NAU.
And I'm Marissa Griffin. I'm your other coordinator here for Fraternity and Sorority Life at NAU. So we're going to jump right in and kind of cover some topics today that we feel you all might have some questions about, some concerns, and talk about what our fraternal community is like here on NAU campus. So Denise, can you start us off? One of the biggest questions I think we always get is why be a member of fraternity and sorority life, and kind of what values does that come out of it?
Absolutely. That's an amazing question, and it is one question that we get pretty often. There are so many benefits with regards to this lifetime commitment that we call fraternity and sorority life. The benefits of being in a fraternity and sorority include, but aren't necessarily limited to, leadership experiences. There's officer positions on executive boards and committee work, planning and implementing conferences, attending conferences all over the country, and in some cases even internationally. There's always the academic support that you get with fraternity and sorority life. In addition to friendships, mentorships, of course, there's intramural sports and team activities. Community service is huge in the fraternal community. Giving back to the community is oftentimes the #1 priority. Philanthropic work, where you're raising funds for certain involvements in community services in the community. Time management, life skills development, and the potential to receive various scholarships. We have to remember that being a part of a fraternity, being a part of a sorority is being a part of a family. It is an extension away from your home. We have our motto here at Northern Arizona University: Lumberjacks today, leaders of tomorrow, leaders forever. And speaking of that lifetime commitment, I want to ask you, Kevin, if you could give us a little glimpse of what that's like. What is the time commitment?
So our fraternities and sororities help them with that time commitment and help them to structure their time with study hours, etc. I like to say it's similar to adding maybe another class to your course load as far as the time commitment, but it's also a piece of what you put into it is what you get out of it. So a student can do the bare minimum and they could attend their weekly meetings, maybe a philanthropy or a community service event here or there, or they can jump right in and, like Denise talked about, hold a leadership position and be much more invested in their organization. So time commitment definitely can vary, but again, we do hear from our students that it helps keep them structured. So really kind of the more they have to do, the better they're off, because they know they have to study for that test on Thursday because they have a big fraternity or sorority event on Friday. That's what we often hear from our students. So in addition to that, like we kind of talked about the community service, philanthropy, scholarship, academic piece, Marissa, how does that really play in to our fraternity and sorority life?
That's a great question, Kevin. Scholastics is a big piece for our fraternities and sororities here on campus. Many of our chapters require a minimum GPA for potential members before they can even join the organization. Once they are an initiated member, they also must obtain a GPA requirement throughout their experience being a student here on campus. Initiated members and the new members also, for a lot of our chapters, are required to provide study halls, attend different study sessions. They're encouraged to be a part in educational programs on campus. They get benefits when they're involved in tutoring, different awards and scholarships we hold our students to. We have a Greek Honor Society called Order of Omega, and our upperclassmen students that make a minimum 3.5 GPA or higher are eligible to participate in that honor society. So it is something that we really strive for and encourage all of our members to continue to putting scholastics first, as they are here to be college students. When they aren't studying, one of the big things that you'll see our students doing is community service. Community service is a way of life for our NAU Greek community. Each year, all of our organizations participate in some type of philanthropy event that either takes place in the Flagstaff community or at a larger local level. On average, our NAU fraternities and sororities this last year raised over $135,000 for various local and national philanthropies, and they completed over 28,000 hours of community service. Some of those organizations have included St. Jude's, March of Dimes, Huntsman's Cancer Institute, and then at a local level, the Flagstaff Food Bank, Shadows Foundation, and so many more. So those are just some of the things you'll see our students doing while they're here as part of their membership. Denise, when they're not in their academics or out and about donating time to our community, what else do our students get involved in?
Well, I think it's exciting to be a part of a fraternal community, a sisterhood, a brotherhood, a siblinghood. And part of joining your fraternal organization is that camaraderie. It is the opportunity to, outside of the classroom, be able to come together and be social. Every one of our organizations in our fraternal community absolutely does community service. They absolutely do philanthropic work, but they also have an opportunity to be social and to gather together and do things that they would be, consider fun. And that's not just in intramural sports, but that's also hanging out with each other. In today's terms, they'll call it having kickbacks. They might even have a party or two. I think it's really important that we're realistic. And when we're realistic with ourselves, with our families, with our students, then we can prioritize the actions and the accountability that we have with our organizations and our individual members. Part of that accountability is responsibility. Part of that accountability is also safety and respect. And so when it comes to social activities, yes, they do have parties. And in some cases, not all, but in some cases, they will have alcohol present. And so the university has an understanding with our fraternal organizations and an expectation. We know that life is an occasion that we have to rise to. And so when we have occasions of special events, concerts, parties or socials, formals, semi-formals, we ask that the organization go through a process that we call event registration. We do that process on our campus through a platform called True Blue Connects, in which every organization, if they are a recognized organization, to include our fraternities and sororities, are registered through True Blue Connects. And there are several levels of responsibility and accountability when they register these events, to include an estimated number of guests that they expect, to also include if they will or will not have alcohol. Should they have alcohol, there's also some protocols that we have in place. They have to provide transportation. Sometimes that comes by way of the university shuttle system, in which the organization charters buses so that their guests and their members can get to and from the event safely. They would have to register that. In addition to that, they would have to supply food and non-alcoholic beverages other than water. And this is something that our students are very good at, and that is providing some really good food for their guests. And so I'm excited that they take the time not only to fulfill the obligation of registering the event, but there's a sense of respect and honesty when it comes to our office and theirs. Should they violate that relationship in any way, there's processes in place to help remind them of safety first, to help remind them and educate them on ways that they can be responsible, accountable. Kevin, do you mind taking some time and talking to us a little bit about the accountability, the safety, and the respect factor that we have between us, our office, and our students?
Of course. So this is always a big concern. Fortunately, fraternities and sororities don't get the best light in the national news. And unfortunately, we hear of some horrible things happening within the news. And so we want to make sure that we educate our students on exactly what is expected of them. So every semester we educate them on the expectations, we educate them on the process for what we sometimes refer to as creative decisions. So again, college is a place for students to learn about themselves and really a place for them to mess up here. Hopefully they don't mess up too much, and hopefully they learn from when they mess up. And our organizations are the exact same way. So we educate them on the expectations. We educate them specifically on hazing, regarding hazing. And if we find that hazing is occurring, we partner with our rights and responsibilities team, which is within the Office of the Dean of Students, where we are also housed, and we talk that through. And oftentimes that would lead to an investigation with our organization, where they meet with all of the members. They bring the national office in to assist with that investigation. And then we really work with the organization to make sure that those hazing activities never happen again, or if it's egregious enough, we might actually have to remove an organization from our That goes with hazing, and that goes with anything in general. So if they are hosting social events that they are not registering, there might be a chance that they come through our Rights and Responsibilities Office for that as well. In regards to the conduct piece for our organizations, we are as transparent as we can be. So actually, we list all of our conduct on our website. So if you go to the nau.edu/FSL, there's a section within our website where we list both the grade report and we also list our conduct report. So if any of our organizations are under any sanctions from the university, we put that on our website. We want parents, families, the students to be as educated as possible when they're making that decision, so they can go right to that website and look up and see any organizations that maybe did a misstep here and there, and any sanctions that might be applied for those organizations. But we work really closely with Rights and Responsibilities and with our student organizations to make sure that they're really aware of what those expectations are. And we feel we have a really great relationship with our organization leaders. And oftentimes, if something happens at one of their events, they know to contact us right away. So we hear about it first, and our first responsibility is to make sure that everybody is safe. And then after that, again, we have those conversations about accountability with them. We'll have Denise talk to you about the recruitment process.
Absolutely. So one of the best parts of joining a fraternity or a sorority is the joining. It's the courtship, the getting to know each other, and then falling in love with an organization and their values, the history, the way they walk out what their founders and their foundation is all about. And I just get so excited when it comes to recruitment and the new member process. I also like to brag about Northern Arizona University and fraternity and sorority life, because we live the experience that we want our students to have. Everyone in the fraternity and sorority life team is a part of a Greek letter organization. And so we have an inside look, but we also have an inside love for these organizations. And that's why we're able to really believe in the recruitment process, the new member process, and have that accountability for our active members to show them this process is a way for you to express the love that you have for your organization, the accountability that you should have and responsibility that you should have for your organization, and making sure that that is what shines. So the new member process varies. We have 3 different councils, and all of that information you're going to be able to find on our website as we talk about our community. But those different councils are self-governing, but they also have a very diverse, a very inclusive outlook when it comes to accepting new members. And that inclusivity and diversity is also includes how they bring in new members. So the new member and the recruitment process, some of you may be familiar with the words rush, something like that. It's referred to as membership intake for some, pledging or associate membership process, and it consists of a defined period of time. Typically, it runs between 4 to 8 weeks, but again, it also depends on the organization. This is where the new members meet brothers, sisters, siblings, or what we call active members of the organization. In the fraternity or in the sorority, they learn about the history, they learn about the values of the organization, the community, the service. They actually get an opportunity in some cases to actually participate in community service during some of these rush activities or some of the recruitment activities as they're getting to know the active members, the brothers, sisters, or siblings of the organization. Now, after they complete the new member process or the recruitment process, those members, should they be selected or should they select the organization, they are initiated or inducted. And that's when the real fun starts, because that's when they have all the rights and privileges of being a member in the organization. And we also need to remember, though, that during this process of recruitment, during the process of new membership, it is a mutual selection process. And so it's a best and best, meaning I as a student am looking for the best organization that I want to belong to, and the organization is also looking for the best member that they would like to belong to their organization. So determining that will look a little different for each organization, but at the same time, it is a mutual selection. Now, with that comes the fact that some folks are not a fit. And so invitations, or what some folks call bids, are not necessarily guaranteed. And so we have to know that with this mutual selection and this courtship, this recruitment, and new member process, it is a process. There may be some disappointments, but I can tell you that in more cases, or more often than not, the love, the value, and that match of finding your best fit really outweighs so many of the other disappointments. And so I believe, as we all do, that the fraternity community, the fraternal community on our campus is amazing. And there is a responsibility that comes with that. Not just community service, not just the study and academic, the scholarship side, but there's also a financial commitment. And so, Marissa, I was hoping that maybe you could talk a little bit about what that financial commitment may look like for each organization, or for the fraternal community as a whole.
Absolutely, Denise. So all of our organizations do have some type of financial commitment. It averages about $550 a semester. Your first semester, it's definitely going to look more because that includes your new member materials. But once you become an initiated member, usually those dues are going to drop. But it is still going to vary per each organization. Each of our organizations, though, are very transparent to what that means, where that money is going, and can kind of give you that breakout ahead of time so you know how much you're expecting. Of course, along the way, there are going to be some minimal things of cost for different events that come up, or if you're participating in other organizations, service projects, their philanthropy events, things that they're doing as well. But those are things that you can work with your organization early on to talk about so you know what you're committing to. Most of our chapters also will give discounts for certain GPA requirements because scholarship is such a prominent thing in our community. But no matter what that cost looks like, all of our chapters will work with you. They can put payment plans in place to be able to break that down because they don't want to make financial concerns a reason why you're not going to be joining that organization. So they really want to work with you, but also highlight what that value is. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today and to watch this video.
Thank you.